So, Quentin, this is for you. Thank you. Go into song. Hello, and welcome to the Weeder Life podcast. I'm your host, Erica Weederlight, and I am the CEO and founder of Weederlight. I help humans who feel inadequate, broken, self-conscious, and shamed around their sexuality to reclaim their aliveness, their power, and to have a renewed relationship to pleasure while preparing themselves to feel hella confident to date others and themselves. AKA, I'm guiding people to live their #best lives. I have to give you a fair warning. I do unfortunately swear like a drunken sailor, so if you do have little ones by you, just be sure to pop in some earbuds. Alright friends, let's buckle up and let's rock it to this week's episode. So I had this idea for this episode for a moment, and I think I talked last week about it. I was like, hey, there is this deeply transformative tool that my clients and I use every week, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. And I recorded the intro. I have literally like 12 tabs open because I came in hot and I'm like, I can't wait to teach you about this tool. And I'm going to go into the tool, and I want to make this a brief episode that you can keep coming back to each week. And if you need any, I'll say this now, if you need a print version of it, I'm happy to email it to you. I'm happy to send it to you, because what I'll be talking about, you're like, hold on. So I'm happy to, send all the resources to you. But what's so funny is before we go into the nuts and bolts of the episode, which is going to be a really good episode, is being cool with where we're at. And I have a lot of personal things happening in my life right now, and I saw myself forcing myself through the episode because I actually genuinely am so excited about the tool, what I'm going to talk to you about today. Like, I'm genuinely and generally pretty psyched about this. And there's also a lot going on for me in my personal life. And so I just was like, oh no. Like, I feel extremely disingenuous. I don't feel genuine right now. And so I just want to voice that, and maybe that's like next week's topic. We shall see. But like, I actually want to voice this for a second. Because I am a recovering and LOL, it slips in and out, people pleaser, I have learned to go against my truth more often than not. Like, that is that has been the bulk of my existence, if you will. And so for me, this work has been really transformational because communities, people have encouraged me not only to speak my truth, but live my truth. And it just felt a little wonky being like, let's talk about today's tool. And like, I feel in my body super fucking ungrounded. Like I was like, oh, I don't feel, part of me feels connected because I feel jazzed to talk to you about this tool. And another part, I felt in my body like there's something happening. So for full transparency purposes, I was like, I feel off. I feel weird. I'm actually in a little corner on the floor because I felt so ungrounded standing and doing the episode. Usually it depends, but I usually stand. And I'm like, I don't feel safe right now because there's lots going on personally. And I'm like, Erica, I need to embody the tools and that safety. And for me, safety is being in this little corner, being on the floor, feeling, and I'm actually saying this, I'm feeling my booty on the floor, I'm feeling my hands on the floor, and it makes me feel a little bit more safe and more grounded. And I think you can hear my voice more truth, where before it was truth, but it was a little bit more like, yeah, let's talk about today's episode. And you're like, oh God, like, is she okay? And so I just wanted to make that little note, and like that there's so many fucking directions we can go in with that, but for me it's truth. Like, and that wasn't valued for a long time for me. It was being happy and serving and making sure everyone's okay. And also, LOL, having a performing background. Being performative is accessible to override some stuff. And so I was like, oh yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I like, part of my liberation is, sure, speaking, living, being in my truth, but it's fucking knowing my truth. And so I want to celebrate that I was like, hey, like, you're going to break your mold of what you usually do here, but you got to sit your ass on the ground. You have to have like a baby heart-to-heart moment before we go into this tool. So if you come back to this episode and you listen to it a few times, of course, feel free to, skip over this part. Or, maybe each time you'll learn something new. But before we go into this episode today, which has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I really wanted to pay homage. I don't know. I really wanted to reflect on being in our truth. And I think, again, because of personal reasons, all is well, but just a little chaotic right now. There's been situations where I've really had to override my truth. And my body's like, we've had enough of that now. And so before we go into this tool that is totally unrelated, but not really, I want to give the first permission slip of the podcast, of this conversation. And the first permission slip is, we talk about all the time, especially in the self-development, especially in the self-improvement, expansion community, of what's your truth? What's your truth? What's your truth? And so often people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know. Like, stop. So I just encourage you, and I'm here to dialogue this with you back and forth, hold you, ask questions. Before we talk about living our truth, being our truth, sometimes we're like, what is that? Same conversation around desires. It's like, yes, go after your desires. And so often we're like, I don't even know what the hell that means. So I just wanted to give a baby invitation before we go into this other tool, unrelated, but related, about honoring what's coming up for you. And I feel like for me in the last few years, especially like really recently, I know when I'm bullshitting. Does that and it's not like bullshitting like, whoa, putting on a show, because then I really know I'm fucking bullshitting. But like there's a little bit of like a dissonance, and I'm just like, ooh, there's something a little bit off. And I think I got good at that because I know I know my internal world really well. I know my body pretty well. I'm trying to, even now, I'm like, I don't want to just spew out shit. But I've really come to know about being, speaking, knowing my truth. So the invite is pretty fucking broad, but take it and whatever resonates, run with it. On how can you honor your truth? Maybe it's starting to journal, what is my truth? What do I want my truth to be? And I just want to say this with the speaking my truth part, again, because I'm a chronic people pleaser and a performer. I know what to say. You know what I mean? Like, not all the time. Let me say that. I know what to say. I know usually what people want to hear. But for me, not the most, but a big transformer for me has been, hold up. As you're speaking, as you're dancing and being with people, what's your truth right now? Because I never made space for that. That wasn't priority. It was make people happy, be likable, be chosen. And because of this work where I've actively chosen myself, and of course I want to be kind and compassionate. Of course, that's, disclaimer on all of that. You know that though. I'm not as desperate to come from that place. Does that make sense? Where it's more geared towards service and connection and conversation versus pick me. I'm okay. Does that make sense? You might be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So it's funny because I went on this like really abstract tangent when in actuality today's episode, why I was excited is it's a great tool. But why I was excited is I'm like, it's a really cut and dry clean and simple. And like, I was like, I'm so excited. Like, this is going to be such an easy, transparently, like, this is going to be such an easy episode to record. Like, it's cut and dry. It's simple. It's perfect. And then, like, of course, I have to have like an existential crisis with you. I'm like, and then let me talk to you about speaking my truth. Like, you're like, oh. So I laugh that I really thought this was going to be, something. But it is. That's cool that, that we can go there, that we can have all of it, and that we can honor our truth, and we can follow our intuition. That's a big dog too. Like, and trusting myself, because in the beginning, I didn't trust myself. I'm like, I have to follow a script. Yes, I mean podcast wise, but I even mean life. I have to follow this thing to make me feel safe. Now because of this work, feel safer. I can trust myself. I can trust, what the fuck? Why does my intuition want to say this? This is supposed to be a short episode where we did the tool, we get out. Why does something bigger than me want to say this? So that's like a baby tangent that I really, truly did not expect to go on, but it's what's up, and I wanted to share with you, and I'm curious. You might be like, that's nice, Erica. Or you might be like, wait, no, that resonates. So I just want to throw that, again, hashtag invitation your way. And like, the invitation is just on truth. Like, whatever that means for you. And however you want to dance with it more. Truth, trusting yourself, following your intuition, following that like North Star. That's kind of the conversation that I want to. It's very sidebar to what we're going to talk about today, but I'm open to having that conversation with you, and I'd love to have that conversation with you. And I'm not going to give my whole spiel, because today I'd like it for it to be a shorter episode. But you know the deal. If you want to reach out, and that's why I fucking love this podcast so much, because I've met some amazing humans, connecting and learning and exchanging information and just jamming, like full on jamming. So if you want to talk to me about what comes up for this episode, what comes up around your truth, being your truth, knowing your truth, speaking your truth, listening to your truth, because LOL, we love to not make time to listen. We're like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I know me too. I'm like, gotta do 4,000 things, and like, just like, oh, and I rarely make time to listen. And there's a wealth of information. There's a wealth of knowledge. There's a wealth of things that want to be seen, held, expressed when I get quiet enough. And that doesn't mean a 5-hour meditation. It just means ground, and see what's coming up. So I am open to all the conversations. You know that. I'm not going to give the long spiel. But if you want to have a conversation, hit me up. Email info@wethelight.org. Or if you want to slide into the DMs, I give full permission. And that's at @wethelight_LLC on the gram. On the gram! So, like, let's go into the episode that I was planning on doing, now that I went into my tangent. So, I'm really jazzed for this episode, for many reasons. But I have been practicing something similar to this tool for many years. However, over the years, over learning different practices, it shifted, it changed, and I have to pay huge respect, because now it has a name, right? Like, before, I was like this thing, and it was elusive, but it really helped, and it was like, it was elusive, but it was great, it was fabulous. But I have to thank my amazing friend, I'm gonna get emotional, my amazing friend, my amazing partner in crime, my amazing, amazing soul human that I am absolutely obsessed with, Quentin. And, Quentin and I were jamming on this, and really, I gasped when he told me he did something similar. And his version was 4,000 times cooler. So he took something I was doing, and we didn't know this. He took something that I was doing, but just makes it so much fucking better. So this episode is really dedicated to Quentin, my amazing friend, just obsessed with you. And And he just, this thing that I've been doing, he has a name for it. He makes it cool. So Quentin, this is for you. Thank you. Go into song. But what Quentin calls it, and now that I talk to my clients about it, we all shift its name, but it's called Espresso Martini Saturdays. How fucking good. Like, how good. Meanwhile, I was like, I don't know, like digesting my week. But Quentin made it sound so cool. So it's Espresso Martini Saturdays. And for me, it's shifted into Kombucha Sundays. I have some clients, some friends that do, here's another name for it, Super Soul Sundays. And for a while, I was calling it Super Soul Sundays. But take whatever name works for you. Espresso Martini Saturdays, Super Soul Sundays. And the point of these little days, or these little fragments in time, is we frame. And what framing is digesting, processing what the fuck just happened. Because we've talked about this before, the idea of digesting and processing. It's so hard to add even great stuff, right? Like, we want to manifest this, and so often with my clients, it's like, I want to bring an amazing partner. I want to bring in more money. But if our plate is so full, it's heavy, even great things. And that's what I'm experiencing now, for, again, full transparency, where I had to sit my ass on the floor. I'm like, I have so many great things happening. It actually makes me want to cry. But my plate is full. So I can say, yeah, I want to do this speaking event, and yeah, put me on the stage here, and yeah. But I'm like, that actually overwhelms my nervous system a little bit. And with digesting, it helps take the edge off a little bit. And we've talked about digesting. We talked about processing. I know I've talked about this many, many episodes ago. But one of my teachers really explained it very beautifully. Regina Thomashower. And I talk about her a lot. She has some really good, little nuggets here and there that really are beautiful and helpful. And what Regina said about processing, digesting, is it's like a Thanksgiving meal. And the food is fab, right? Like, or a meal that you love. Like, it's like, oh my God, like everything, each course, each, entree, each dessert, each appetizer, each charcuterie is better and better and better. Like, fab, 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 fab. And we're like, I can't. Like, I physically, like, yes, that, that antipasto, that pepperoni on that cheese board looks fucking phenomenal. You made it into the little flour. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You put the honey on the charcuterie board. You made the flour out of the pepperoni. Holy shit, that cheese from Trader Joe's is amazing. I genuinely don't have space to put it in my body. So it's almost moot point. Like And so the dinner, the thing could be fabulous, but we haven't processed, we haven't digested, we're full. And so for me, a lot of the tools that I teach, actually a lot from many different places, from many of my different trainings, some being from Regina, is digesting, is processing, is making space to hold more, to digest, to shed, to let go. So we can process it, not only from our brains, which God bless, make space, but also for our bodies. Our bodies, the fucking drill. Our bodies, quite literally, our body keeps a score. Thank you for that phenomenal book. But like, the body, genuinely, the brain, it keeps the score. We're holding these things. And processing and digesting, and there's many ways to do that. And again, that's one of the benefits of being my client. We could do that through many ways. You could do that through movement, through breath work, through journaling. There's endless options. And this one, why I love Espresso Martini Saturday, or for how I call it, Super Soul Sunday, is it's easy. Like, I could do this tool at the airport, where sometimes, like, I can't do a breath. I mean, you could, but, like, I can't do I would prefer not to do a breathwork session in the airport. I'm like, I'm not really in the mood for that. I'm not really in the mood to go viral being the weird girl doing a fucking breathwork in the airport. You know what I mean? Like, it's all right. It's all right. I'll pass on that one. So for me, I could do this anywhere. And that's why I love this tool so much. So the Cliff Notes is, let's get into it. What is Super Soul Sunday? And I'm going to encourage you to name it. Here's the thing. For me, if I name it, I'm more consistent with it. If it's elusive, like I said before, Quentin and I talked about it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to process, or I'm going to digest. But now it's like, I can't wait for Super Soul Sunday. Whether I'm on a plane, whether I'm home, I can't wait. So I'm going to encourage you to name it. And the cliff notes of what it is, and you could pick a day that works. I personally love Sunday. I know Quentin, I think, loves doing this on Saturday. I have clients that love to do this on Monday. It's your choice. But essentially what it is you're framing the prior week. You're digesting the week before. And I love Sundays because that helps me like, okay, I look back from last week and I'm like, oh my God, this was what was fab. This was what was amazing. This was like the rose and thorn of the week. Great. And then I look forward to what I want to create, what I want to, now that I have the space, what am I bringing in? What's my intention? All of that fabulousness. Great, right? Seems a little dry. So that's where I went wrong. But I didn't have a name for it. It was like, okay, cool. Like it did help me digest. But where Quentin really added a hot edge was make it a little bit of an ordeal. Again, sometimes we're on the go. But even at the airport, I can make this fun. But Quentin has made it an edge, has made it fun, something to look forward to. Because sometimes we're like, I don't want to fucking do a tool. But Quentin made it this fabulous activity. Doing a gorgeous espresso martini. For me, and I change, sometimes I change it because I get, I like to change things up. But sometimes I'll do Super Soul Sunday and I'll do Super Soul Spa Sunday. So what I might do is I might do a face mask, or I may go into the bath and do this. I have clients that are like, I'm not really about kombucha. I'm not really about this type of drink. I'm going to do tea. Cool. Or if they're like, I'm not really, about the beverages, I'm going to do food. So I have someone that does charcuterie board Monday. And now that, especially that the fucking TikTok boards are in trend, this is their time. But they make a beautiful spread. They make spread, they have, maybe they'll have a little ice cream. They'll do a little charcuterie board. They get excited to make like this fabulous snack. And they're like, oh my gosh, I have this little recipe. I'm so excited to make it. I'm going to put on jazz music. So first and foremost, we name it, right? So for all of us, it's different things. For me, it's Super Soul Sunday. For my friend Quentin, and I know Quentin, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes does it different days or different things, but Espresso Martini Saturday. And I know Quentin also creates a gorgeous ambiance. He may also do a gorgeous charcuterie board. He then may put on Ella Fitzgerald in the background. So it's not just, all right, you have this kombucha or you have this tea and bibbity boppity boo. No, it's ambiance. It's creating that space for yourself. And it doesn't have to be a 4-hour ritual. I know we are all booked and blessed, which is great. We're busy. We're biz. But this is in addition to making space for ourselves, it's also making space for ourselves. So not only digesting and processing, but it's making space. It's corny, but it's like falling to the altar of our own selves. Even if this is a 15-minute practice, wouldn't it be so much more rewarding and fulfilling and effective, honestly, if instead of, okay, what are the Super Soul Sunday? What are the questions? What are the things I have to do? Wouldn't it be nice? It doesn't need to be a whole hoopla. What if it was, I'm just going to put some Spotify music on in the background? What if it's, I'm going to make tea? It doesn't need to be anything outrageous, but it's the intention behind it of I'm going to create spaciousness, not only for my week, but for myself. So I don't need you going out and spending $50 on a charcuterie board. No, it's like I said, it might be that tea. It might be, okay, I'm going to do this under my comfy blanket while writing it down, or I'm going to be sharing it with a friend. We're going to name it and we're going to create ambiance. Again, because I'm a shapeshifter. And I know we've talked about this episodes back, but I'd love to do an episode part 2. But I'm a shapeshifter in life, but also for my erotic blueprints. Again, we need to bring Amber back and talk about that. But I'm a shapeshifter. I like variety. I like changing it up. So like I said, sometimes I want that spa day. Sometimes I want a charcuterie board. Sometimes I'm on a plane and I'm like, okay, cool. Let me eat my little pretzels and my Diet Coke. You know what I mean? Like for me, that actually makes this as exciting because I get to challenge myself. What's my mood? And I always love Sundays. Again, sometimes it changes, but I love Sundays. So I'm like, oh shit, like, what's my mood this Sunday? What is it going to be? I'm going to do it at the pool? Am I going to do it here? Like, it's almost like an exciting game for me. Like, not only how am I going to show up for these questions, but like, how am I going to show up for my space? For me, that's like a fun little game I play with myself. Like, okay, like, how are we going to make it fun this week? If you're like, no, thank you. I like routine. I like doing the same thing. God bless. The great thing about this practice is it's all about us taking time for ourselves to honor ourselves. So I can tell you about what Quentin and I do. I can tell you what some of my clients do, and it's great information. It's fabulous inspiration. But this is about you. Fuck it. Yeah, it does go back. It's about you listening to your truth and what you need. And that's the exciting thing about it. And that's why I was so, jazzed to talk to Quentin about it, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a good spin on it. And I was so jazzed when I heard other clients, they're like, oh no, you know what I do? I go to a workout class and then I treat myself to a really, nice smoothie or juice, and I do it like this. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it's so exciting. But the cool thing is it's your spin. It's your thing, that your little treat, your little time for yourself, your little moment to have expression and safety and, fuck it, I'm going to be basic, self-care. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. Whether this practice is 5 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour. It's all about you nourishing and taking care of yourself. So let's get to the juice. We got the juice. Let's go into it. So we named it. We created the setting. We created the ambiance wherever you are. And like I said, we're going to talk about framing last week, and then we're going to talk about bringing it, what we're bringing in. So I have some questions, and again, like, I'm going to rattle these off. You can pause, you can write them down. Hell yeah, of course that's an option. Or if you're like, hey, can you send these to me? Absolutely. Or what you can do, and this is, so with Quentin and I, Quentin inspired me. I took some, like, you take what you will. You know what I mean? And if you're like, actually those questions don't resonate, but for me, I'm going to ask myself this. Great. Or if you want to, like I said, I'm here. If you're like, hey, can you help me brainstorm? I don't really love these questions, but what about this? Yes. Again, this is all tailored to us feeling supported. So here's my questions that I normally suggest for people. But this is a foundation. This is a start. You can go in and totally change it, totally tailor it for you. So here's some ideas. So this is digestion, first and foremost. So the digestion, here we go. Here's some questions. How was your last week? What do you remember most about the week? What did you accomplish? What color was your week? What texture? Who made you smile? Quentin gave me that. What was the best and worst thing of the week? What are some celebrations and digestions? What are you grateful for this week? What's some evidence that things are going your way? I actually have 55 more. These are the ones that I send out, but there's more. There's more. This is just opportunity. This is just a start to just kind of purge, digest. This could have went better. I didn't really show up for this thing. Hey, oh my gosh, I forgot. I went to this amazing dinner with friends. I had an awesome work call. It's all about framing, digesting, processing the good, bad, the everything of last week. Just to frame it, just to digest it. And again, open options of how you want to do that. Some people journal this, some people say it out loud. I have people that dance it, like they write it down, then they move it through their body. It's endless options. Great. So I can go on and on about prompts, but I'm here if you want inspiration. Great. So if that feels complete, like, okay, like I got the gist of last week. I got the celebrations. I got it. Cool. Then we're ready to, and you'll feel like, oh, there's more to process. There's more to digest. Cool. Or you might be like, okay, I feel processed. I feel digested. I'm digested. Moira, she's digested. So when you're digested, you're going to then transition into what we're cultivating, what we're bringing. And you can ask yourself, okay, what's my intention for this next week? How do I want to feel this next week? What do you desire to do next week? What goals and action steps would you like to get done this week? How can you add even more self-care, pleasure, celebration, and acceptance this week? Again, there's more options. Something I also like to do, because I like to do it on Sunday, is after that feels complete, I like to go through my week, and especially since I work for myself, it's my schedule's chaotic, but it's good because I see, oh my gosh, okay, cool, I have that call on Thursday, and then on Tuesday I'm doing this speaking thing. I get to see what's going on. So I like to peek at my week ahead. Oh yeah, I have that dinner on Friday. I get to see what's going on. And because it's easy not to, I physically write down, hey, self-care time. Hey, pleasure time. Hey, practice this tool. I have to write it in because I know for me then I won't do it. So not only is an opportunity to, okay, great, how do I want to feel this week? How do I want to show up this week? What do I want to cultivate? What do I want to bring in? Fab, fab, fab. I also physically go through my calendar. I see what's ahead. I see what's in front of me, what I want, what I intend for the week. And then I also write in those little opportunities to support myself. Hey, wake up and do that meditation. Hey, take that goddess bath. Hey, I write those things in to support myself, to get the desire, to feel that way. Does that make sense? There's many different ways that we all could do this, but this is a gorgeous opportunity, and why I love it is it's a formula. It's super simple. It's super easy. And the great news about it is you can cultivate it. You can make it your way. You can make it in a way that supports you, that feels good to you. And the cool news is it's an opportunity to get to know yourself more. It's an opportunity to, and I do an exercise with my clients where I have them have their soul speak. And it sounds like, what the fuck? But I have them, if their soul had a microphone, what would their soul say? And this is an opportunity to have their soul express. What do you want to create? What does your soul need right now? Like I said, is it that gorgeous cocktail? Is it a beautiful charcuterie board? Is it, no, I want to sit in a dark room and under my blankie? What does your soul, what does your higher self, your inner child, what do they need to feel supported, to feel taken care of? You had a whole week, and we know the deal. Usually it's not just good days and bad days. We have 65 emotions throughout the day. We have 4 million thoughts. So add seven days of that. A lot happened, even if a lot didn't happen. There's a lot to be moved. There's a lot to be processed. And we need that to make space for the next week. And why I like it too is we so often go unconscious and we're like, okay, another week, another day, another dollar, like keep going. And it's like, ew, like that just feels really fucking crunchity crunch. Like, yikes, like just not great. Like that is not even a chip crunch. That's a fucking pretzel crunch, and a pretzel that is stale. Like I don't want that. So we may say, oh, nothing crazy happened this week. Nothing big happened this week. There's still stuff to process. We still experience life. We still need to digest. And again, I know if you're here, you don't want to be on autopilot. You don't want to, okay, another week. Okay, here we go. No, I know you want to, okay, I want to feel this here. I know my week actually looks pretty normal, but okay, I have a normal work schedule this week, but what if I add in a phone call with a friend? What if I dare myself to read a chapter in a book? It adds a little bit more agency for ourselves, and we get a little bit more excited. We get a little bit more involved instead of feeling like, fuck, another week. Does that make sense? I can talk about this for hours, but like, I think you get the gist. I think you see why it's so powerful that we give our space, we give ourselves, we give our body, our mind, spirit time to digest, to unpack. And then instead of being, oh, well, it is what it is. No, we have a little bit of agency. We have a little bit of excitement of what's to come, of, ooh, I want to add these little sparkles over here. Or, ooh, I want to add this little jazz over here. Like we feel more involved in our own life. We don't feel as taken by it. Fair? So again, I could talk about this for 4 hours, but I want you to keep coming back to this episode. If you need to collaborate, if you have questions, hey, can you help me, workshop this with me? Absolutely. I'm here. You know the deal. You know where to find me. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to send these questions to you. And I really can't wait. It actually makes me excited when I hear people's different variations of this. I'm like, oh my God, stop. Or people like, oh my God, I did it on vacation. Or, oh my God, I did it in the spa. Or, oh my God. I love it. So it would be my honor. It would be my pleasure to hear, maybe you want help with it. Or maybe you're like, no, I know exactly what to do. Let me know. It makes me jazzed. It literally makes me jazzed. So you could, like I said, you could directly reach out. You could tag me on Insta. Show me how you're going to Super Soul Sunday. Show me how you're going to Espresso Martini Saturday. Show me how you're going to do the things to digest, process, and look forward to what you're creating. So there's so much more to say, but I'm going to leave you here because I know there's so much good stuff. There's so much to process, digest, and so much to create. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with, what feels good to you, what feels nourishing to you. This is your moment every week to carve out soul time. And we so rarely have that now. That feels inaccessible sometimes. So this is our moment. This is our opportunity to carve out soul time. I love you. You deserve it. You're fantastic. I love you. I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Thank you, seriously thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and on this podcast journey. And if you loved what we talked about today and you know another human who could definitely benefit from what was discussed, I would so appreciate if you would go ahead and share this podcast with them. Don't forget, hit subscribe or follow so you never ever miss an episode. And the great news is you can always follow me, my work, my blog, my podcast on my website at www.wethelight.org. And hey, remember, life is so much brighter when we shine. I'll see you next time.